In this video, I'll be looking at every suit release for the 2018 Insomniac Spider-Man game. I'll be primarily using the original PS4 versions of these costumes when I discuss them. The main reason for this is that I played the game on PS4, so that's the version that I'm familiar with. But I also think it's best to look at how the suits were originally portrayed, as opposed to the PS5 remaster. Okay, now we can start. The Advanced suit needs no introduction. Its place as the main suit within Insomniac's universe ensures that everyone is extremely familiar with this costume. Overall, I'm really not a big fan of it. I do like the white spider symbols, they make the suit unique, and I like how they really pop at night. The general design is fine too, I just have one issue that concretely sours it for me. It's orange. I've said this before about this costume and I got a lot of comments saying that I was wrong, that I was colorblind, or that it's just the lighting. No, dude, this suit is orange. I'm not the only person who said this. I don't understand how this is still up for debate. It is orange. 6 out of 10. It's not bad by any means, it's just not good. I played through this game twice, once on normal and once on ultimate, and I played all the DLC missions. I only used this suit during my first playthrough up to the auction house segment. After that, I repaired the classic suit and I never used this again. In a video I made talking about Spider-Man in the Avengers game, I stated that I didn't like Insomniac's Advanced suit, and a lot of people got really upset. If I had to guess, I'd say that a lot of people have a strong attachment to this costume because they used it for their entire playthrough, so for them, the suit is synonymous with the character's story and the game itself, which is probably why people got so upset when I said I didn't like it, as an attack on the suit could be seen as an attack on the game itself. I could be wrong, that's just my theory. If you do like this suit, let me know why and if I was close at all. Also, just wanted to point out that I like the new Advanced suit in the sequel. The suit actually being red is a big factor, but I also like how the spider symbols line up with the red sections. The classic suit in this game is pretty darn good. In terms of the actual design, this is the best official rendition of the classic suit I've ever seen. The web pattern, eyes, symbols, gloves, boots, everything looks great here. But I don't love this suit because I think it has an awful color scheme. In my mind, Spider-Man is red and dark blue. That's just what his suit is supposed to look like for me. And it simply doesn't have those colors here, instead being orange and cyan. And yes, it is orange. I know some people say that it's just the lighting, but I don't think so. While it does look a little better in the dark, if you shine any amount of light on it, you go right back to Orange City. For me, color scheme is honestly way more important than design. A good color scheme can make up for a bad design, but I'm not sure that a good design can salvage a bad color scheme. This is one of those suits that I had hoped would benefit from the alternate color options that be included in the sequel. Because if this suit had a better shade of red and blue, this would be one of the best classic suits ever made. Unfortunately, they didn't do that. We got a Webman and first appearance color scheme, but no modern red and blue. Oh, but thank goodness we have a version of the classic suit with virtually the same color scheme and a white spider logo. That's definitely what people wanted in Insomniac. As it is, I'd give the suit an 8. Despite its color issues, it's still a well-designed costume. The classic damaged suit is exactly what the name says it is. It's the classic suit, but damaged. The damage isn't nearly enough for it to be worth its own suit slot, in my opinion at least. Weirdly enough, the red on this costume is slightly different from the classic suit and is a bit better in my opinion. 6 out of 10, not a fan of damaged suits in general, and this one in particular isn't the most exciting. The Spider-Man Noir suit is alright. I don't really like this one. Just like in 2010 Shattered Dimensions, they've opted to replace the character's trench coat with a vest. Unlike Shattered Dimensions, I think the colors here are worse, the eyes are worse, they didn't add a symbol to the back so his design is a little boring from behind, and I personally don't like the holster on the side since it makes the outfit a bit asymmetrical. Personally, I'd give this one a 6 out of 10. Hopefully they add a version in the sequel with the coat. The Scarlet Spider costume, originally worn by Ben Reilly, looks great on Peter in this game. This is the first time I've ever actually liked this suit, as I always thought it looked boring before. After seeing Across the Spider-Verse, I finally know why. In my opinion, this suit needs something on the red sections to prevent it from looking too plain. In Across the Spider-Verse and in 90s comics, it's the heavy shading that ties it together, and in this game it's the extra lining and texturing that makes it work. While not one of my favorite suits, I do like it. 8 out of 10. The Spider Armor Mark II is Okay, first I gotta rant about this spider armor naming convention. If you've seen my video on Spider-Man's costumes in Avengers, and this will be nothing new to you, but I really don't agree with calling these suits the Marks 2, 3, and 4 of the spider armor because it makes it sound like they're all variations of the same suits, which isn't true. This suit here is really the only suit that could be called a variation of the spider armor, since they both have the same goal of being an extra layer of protection. But the other two definitely shouldn't have those names. I've complained about this in the past, and people have said that these names have been used in other places before the Insomniac game. And look, I'm not saying that you're liars, but I'm an uber Spider-Man fan, and I've never seen these names used until this game. So if you can find an official Marvel product that refers to these suits in this manner that was released before the Insomniac game, take a picture or video of it and post it somewhere. Tag me so that I can see it, because as far as I know, it was this game that started referring to these suits as the Spider Armors Marks 2 through 4. I also saw some people say that the naming convention was always the case for these suits, and that's simply not true. The original concept sketch for this suit refers to it as Bulletproof Spider-Man. The Mark III was usually called the Ends of the Earth suit, since that's the name of the story it appeared in. I remember it was also called the Anti-Sinister Six armor, since that's the purpose of the suit. And the Mark IV is usually either called the ANAD suit, short for All New, All Different, the Marvel branding the suit appeared under, or it's called the Parker Industries suit, which is the name used by Dan Slott, the writer that co-created the suit. So, I'm sorry that this has been so long-winded, but I really need to stress that I do not like these names. TLDR, back in my day, these suits didn't have these newfangled names, and I'm a boomer, so I don't like it. Anywho, the suit itself is okay. Insomniac took a lot of liberties with this one, completely changing how the suit is assembled. In the books, it was gray square patterned cloth with black armor pieces over top of it. Here, the gray patterned fabric is entirely removed, and only some of the armor pieces are retained. It's not a huge deal since the suit mainly looks as it should, but it is worth noting. An actual problem I have is that the non-shiny armored areas look very gray half the time. I think the suit looks best when primarily black, so that's an issue for me. Overall, I'd say this one's a 7. The Secret War suit is an outfit that I've never liked. I first saw it in Shattered Dimensions, and I actually laughed when I unlocked it because of how ugly it was. Mostly, I think the color scheme of black, light blue, and orange, yes, it is orange, looks pretty bad. This is a suit that shows up way more than it should as an alternate suit, given that it existed in only 4 images in the books. This game's rendition is a pretty faithful recreation of the suit, with the only glaring difference being the eyes. Instead of the distinctly sharp and narrow eyes shown in the books, the suit here reuses the same lenses that are on most of the suits. I personally don't care about this since I think the suit looks ugly either way, but it's worth pointing out. I'd give this one a 4 out of 10. The Stark suit, as seen in Spider-Man Homecoming, is an alright outfit. For the most part, it's a decent take on the classic suit. I thought the suit looked fine in Civil War, but making the blue brighter in Homecoming made it look worse since it made the black lines on the blue section too apparent. I said this before in a video, and people commented that the suit is the same color in these 2 movies, and it's just the color grading that's different, and that's just not true. The suit did not physically exist when filming Civil War. It was a CG costume that was placed over a physical suit that had a different design. But both the original physical suit and the final design in the movie had a darker blue. When they made the suit for real for Homecoming, they made the blue lighter. This is not a color grading issue. They changed the color between movies. Sorry for that tangent, but I just had to address that. Anyway, I'm not a huge fan of this suit. I mostly don't like it because I really don't like the MCU version of Spider-Man. I associate the suit with the character, so I really just never want to use it. 7 out of 10. The Negative suit is a pretty cool twist on the Advanced suit. I don't think it's that great, as I practically never used it, but using it during the Mr. Negative boss battles goes so hard. This is one of the suits that benefited from the PS5 remaster, as the lenses on the mask were white for some reason on PS4, but have been properly inverted to black on PS5. I think they should just patch this into the PS4 version, but whatevs. 7 out of 10. Next up, we've got the Electrically Insulated suit. I don't think I have to tell you that this suit was originally created to fight Electro. I actually like some things about this costume, like the colors and the symbols, but I never actually use it. The big barrier to enjoyment that I find with this one are these straps on the back of the head. They just look odd. And generally, this suit doesn't feel Spider-Man-y enough. 6 out of 10. Moving on to the Spider-Punk suit, I have never liked this suit. I always thought it was the most inoffensive and safe version of a punk Spider-Man that was most likely made by a person who knows next to nothing about actual punk-style design. It's funny, after the Across the Spider-Verse movie came out and Spider-Punk was given a radically improved design, people started saying, "Wow, the original looks so boring now." Now? What do you mean now? It was always boring. With that out of the way, I think Insomniac did a good job with this suit, even enhancing it a bit with additional details. The web shooters being spiked wristbands is an incredibly fitting addition that feels as though it was there the whole time. The shade of red and blue on the suit are also pretty good, much better than what the classic suit has. Overall, I'd give this one a 6. It's not bad, but it is pretty dull. The wrestler suit is taken from the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, and was apparently worn by Insomniac Peter in canon as evidenced by this old wrestling advert. Even though I like Ultimate Spider-Man a lot, I actually don't like this suit that much. I just don't jive with the more casual stuff since I think it looks crummy when compared to the super suits. Also, I think they kind of over-designed the mask. I understand that it looks more like a real wrestling mask, but I don't think it looks very good. 5 out of 10. The Fear Itself suit is another costume that only existed for a handful of panels in the books. The suit isn't that great looking, and while Insomniac has tried their damnedest to improve it, it's still not a good looking costume. The big issue with this suit is that it is largely just a recolor of the classic suit, so the arm blades, the reason the suit even exists, end up looking out of place. I think an original design that naturally incorporates the blades would have looked way better than a neon blue recolor of the classic suit. Again, Insomniac tried here. The suit has square scale mail armor that A, looks cool, and B, is similar to the armor Thor uses, which makes sense since the arm blade weapons that created this suit in the comics were blessed by Odin. Still, the suit is 95% just the classic suit. The neon blue color scheme isn't awful, but I don't think it's that good. And like I said before, the arm blades stick out in a very jarring way, despite the fact that they should be the centerpiece of the suit. I'd give this one a 4. I'd be perfectly happy if this suit only ever shows up as a recolor in video games going forward. The Big Time suit is another outfit that I think is strangely named. It's called the Stealth, in parentheses, Big Time suit. This is so funny to me because that's how I write suit names sometimes when writing these scripts. I'll write the stupid made-up name the game gave the suit, and then in parentheses I write the suit's actual name so that I know what costume it's supposed to be when I come back to the script later. I know this is a super small thing, but I mean, really, have you ever stopped to think about this? Why put the Stealth there? Why not just call it the Big Time suit? Anyway, I love the suit in this game. It's a simple 2-color outfit that looks fantastic at night. I have 2 super minor issues with the suit. I don't think the shoulders match the rest of the outfit, and I don't like how the symbol overlaps on the belt and cuts it off. It makes it look like the symbol is something that's been placed on top of the suit instead of being built into it, but outside of that, fantastic costume. 9 out of 10. The Spider Armor Mark III, aka the Ends of the Earth suit, is one of my favorite suits in this game. The suit looked good in the comics, sure, but I feel like it's been significantly improved here. The red armor is a lot more vibrant, and though it's a small thing, I like how the backpack has added metal strips to become a spider symbol. Every other version of the suit looks incomplete without this back spider. In my video looking at Spider-Man suits in Avengers, I said that I preferred Insomniac's take on the suit over the Avengers one, and I got a lot of people disagreeing with me, saying that they thought it looked better in Avengers. I really don't get that viewpoint. I think the design is way better here. This suit is one of my favorites in Spider-Man, and it's just kind of there in Avengers. If anything, I think the eyes here are a little too bright, and maybe the amount of light they give off could be reduced. Still, great costume, 9 out of 10. The 2099 Black Suit, as the game refers to it, is yet another strange name. I get that the suit in the books was originally black, but it's not here. So why is it called that? I mentioned this in an earlier video and people started defending the blue color scheme and like, bro, look, I'm not saying the suit should be black. I think it looks better when it's blue. Peter and Miguel's costumes are so different in their design that the red and blue color scheme is basically the only thing that ties them together. So believe me, I prefer the suit to be blue. What I'm crying and moaning and pissing about is the name. Just call it 2099, period. In the sequel, I'm sure one of the alternate colors will be a red and black version, and while that's cool for the sake of historical accuracy, I will never use that version. The suit here in the game looks great. The only real issue I have with it is the lack of anything interesting on the suit's back. In the comics, he had a web cape, which solved this issue. Sometimes in games, they'll put a symbol on the back to address this. This game does neither, so actually playing as a suit is kinda lame because you're just staring at a blank blue body for most of your playtime. Again, I've complained about this before and people said I was a hypocrite for suggesting adding a symbol to the back because it wasn't like that in the books. It seems like there's this misconception that I hold comic purity and accuracy to the source material above all else, and that's just Not true. Most of the time I want things to stick to how they were in the comics because I think those designs in the comics look cool. I like those designs, so I want to see them as they are, or at the very least, as I picture them in my mind. I do not want things to be similar to the books solely out of some sense of historical purity or something. So if you have to make a change to the suit, that's fine, as long as it adds to the design, or at the very least, it doesn't detract from it. So yeah, if you're not going to do the cape for whatever reason, then I'd be fine with a symbol. There's another more minor issue I have with this suit, which is that the piping on the costume is purple. You're not going to see it most of the time, but it's there, and you will see it sometimes. And just like, why is it there? I'm not even mad at the extra lines, just make them the same shade of blue as the rest of the suits. The purple doesn't look good at all. So even though I just spent a lot of time whining about this costume, I do think it is a largely good suit that faithfully recreates the design from the books. 8 out of 10. The MCU version of the Iron Spider is another MCU suit, so once again, I don't like it on principle. The design of the suit is fine. I've heard a lot of people think it's over-designed, but I don't think so. There's not that much going on here. Obviously, compared to its comic inspiration, it's over-designed, but I don't view this as an adaptation of that costume. I mean, clearly it is, but in my freakazoid Dorito-addled brain, I just count this as its own thing. And as its own thing, it's fine. I think it was overused in the movies, but that's not really relevant. When it comes to its appearance in this game, I don't think it was adapted super well. The red is too orangey, and the blue section is not as dark as it should be, almost like it lost its color after being thrown into a washing machine too many times. I'd personally only give this one a 6 or 7. I really don't like it, but that's mostly due to my bias against the character. The Velocity suit is almost a good costume. Nearly everything about the body looks pretty cool actually, but the main thing that holds this suit back for me is the eyes. I'm sure the idea was that since this was a suit made to go at high speeds, the eyes were designed this way to be more protective. I get that, I do, but it looks bad. They're too different from what Spider-Man's eyes normally look like, and they also don't have a strong enough design to warrant it being its own thing. The design of the eyes seemed kinda random with the placement of the metal. I think it would look way better if the eyes were entirely light up teal like the spider symbol. Give the eyes a bit of dimension to them so they look thick enough to endure high speeds, and I think you'd be good. Alternatively, giving the eyes thinner, narrow slits like the vents you see on cars would fit the protective eyewear angle while still looking better than the original eye design. Also, the symbol on the front is not as luminescent as the one on the back, which irritates me. How hard is it to make both sides light up the same amount? Overall, I'd give this one a 6. With a few changes, it could have been much higher though. The all-new, all-different suit, called the Mark IV here, is one of my favorite suits in this game. I really like this design. It's a futuristic version of the classic suit that doesn't go overboard with techno nonsense. I like the colors, I like the material, I think the symbols look cool. I know not everyone vibes with the green lights, but I think they look cool. I only have one uber small nitpick with it, that being that the light from the spider symbol on the chest seeps into the web pattern a bit, but that's not a big deal. This is a 10 for me. The Spirit Spider suit is next, and what I'm about to say is going to be very controversial. I really like this suit. Nobody else seems to, but I think this suit rocks. It's literally just Ghost Rider, but Spider-Man. How do you not think that's cool? I've got 3 problems with this suit though. You ready? Okay. Number 1, I wish the fire effect was stronger. Number 2, I wish the suit kept its original name of Ghost Spider. I'll have a little essay on screen explaining why it was changed and the issue I have with that. And number 3, the only legit problem is that it makes some cutscenes difficult to take seriously. When I first played the game, there's a point in the story where Peter and Mary Jane are talking and she's like, "Oh, you don't have to do this by yourself." And then it cuts to Peter and his skeleton face was just staring blankly at her, and oh, I laughed so hard, dude. But yeah, I love using the suit at night, and I think it looks cool with the quad damage suit power since the blue effect on the hands is kinda similar to the blue fire on his head. It's a weird one for sure, but I like it. 8 out of 10. The 2099 white suit is based off the new suit Miguel used during the ANAD period of Marvel. I'm super mixed on this one. I thought it was alright in the books. The biggest problem I had with it was how it was a more advanced suit than Miguel's original one, but it was actually created by Peter in the present day. But there were elements that I liked too. I think the white and red color scheme is cool, and the best part about the suit is the symbol. It's designed in a way that is both a skull and a spider at the same time, which I think is awesome. It also wraps around a bit on the back to add a little color there, which is nice. Here in the game, I think the suit is a bit too techy, especially the helmet. Like look, I get it, it's a technological suit, but there are other outfits in the game that are also more advanced in their construction without going overboard like this one. I really wish I could give the suit a higher score, but I find that I rarely use it. 7 out of 10. The vintage comic book skin is a cel-shaded version of the classic suit. This is a really fun skin that I like using. The cel-shaded look is unique, and the way it produces its own light is interesting, as it will always be fully lit no matter what lighting you're in. The issue I have with this one is that the shading on the blue section is dependent on what direction you're facing. So if you're standing like this, then it looks great, with the inky black accented with blue, but then you turn it around and... ugh. It's not the worst thing in the world, but that bothers me. 8 out of 10. The last stand outfit is taken from a possible future where things go a little bad for Pete and he gets Swiss cheesed by the police. This is one of the more casual outfits that I actually like, since the suit still looks like the character and there is a specific reason behind the outfit's existence. In the comics, the suit was designed by a tailor as a reversible jacket that Peter could quickly change in and out of. Insomniac's rendition of the suit is a bit of a mixed bag. For the most part, the suit has been adapted spot on to its comic counterpart. I like how the mask subtly has a bit of looseness near the mouth like it did in the books. The gloves were changed to be red on the top and black on the side of the palms, which is a change I actually like. But something that bothers me a ton with this suit is how the mask is a different shade of red than the jacket and gloves, being more orangey. I understand that these are two different materials, but come on, could they not have been at least a little closer in color? His head looks like a lollipop sticking out of its wrapper, god damn. 6 or 7 out of 10, somewhere there. The undie suit is given to you as the 100% completion reward. I know a lot of people didn't like this and they thought this wasn't a good reward for 100%ing the game, but like, honestly, I don't know what those people are on about. Do you really want a really cool suit locked behind 100% completion, so you'd only get it once you did everything in the game and there's no reason to play it anymore, so that you wouldn't be able to use the suit for most of your playtime? Come on. The underwear suit is a silly joke, I get that, but I think it's a fun bonus for 100%. I don't use it too much, but every now and then I'll whip it out and start giggling. 7 out of 10. The homemade suit from Spider-Man Homecoming is certainly a suit that exists. I don't like MCU Spider-Man. I don't like crummy homemade costumes. Surprise, surprise, I don't like this one. 5 out of 10. The ESU suit is, in my opinion, the weirdest outfit in this game, not because of its design, but because of the requirements to unlock it. There are secret photo locations throughout the map that you can only spot with a suit mod, and taking photos of every one of these secret spots gets you this suit. Why is this secret photo stuff even here? Couldn't this just have been given after taking pics of all the normal landmarks? Regardless of that, I don't like this one. It's just kind of boring. He's just wearing a t-shirt, dude. Like, what do you want me to say? 5 out of 10. Next up is the Dark Suit. In the comics, this appeared briefly in the Spider-Man Deadpool comic. In this game, it's canonically created by Black Cat as a gift for Peter. Like its comic counterpart, it's a fairly simple, primarily black outfit, with red symbols and eyes. This version has added details to it which I mostly don't mind, except for these things right here. Super minor nitpick, but sometimes they're blue, and yeah, that kind of bothers me. I tend not to use this one too much because I think it's too dark. In some lighting, I can barely see the suit. 7 out of 10. The Anti-Ox suit is the suit you're forced to wear in the final boss. It's a cool design and it makes sense for the story, so I actually do like this one. It's best used at night so the LEDs can really pop, but it also looks decent during the daytime. 8 out of 10. The Webbed suit is the famous and hyper-popular suit from the Sam Raimi movies. Specifically from the second one, since the suit was a little different in the first film. While mostly faithful to its film counterpart, the suit is not a perfect recreation. You don't have to take my word for it, there are like a billion mods for the PC version that try to fix this costume and make it more accurate to the film. The only issue I had with the suit that I thought was super obviously not right was the web pattern. It's way too shiny and reflective, like he's wearing a chain link fence. Ultimately, it's not a huge deal, for me at least, because this is going to be the most controversial thing I say in this video. I truly do not like the Sam Raimi version of Spider-Man. I think every problem with the character in the modern day can be traced back to those movies, and I'm so sick and tired of every adaptation just trying to be the Raimi movies instead of trying to be like the books. So because of that, just like the MCU suits, I associate the character with the costume, and I just can't bring myself to use it. I think the design of the suit is fantastic. It's one of the best examples of faithfully translating a comic character's costume into a movie. The reasons I dislike the suit have nothing to do with its design. I'm glad it's here for the historical value, but I truly do not care for this costume. 7 out of 10. Though I know for others this is going to be much higher. The Bombastic Bagman suit is one of Spidey's most infamous costumes. I was never a fan of it before because of the exposed exposed feet. Always thought that was kinda gross, but also, like, shouldn't the Fantastic Four's costumes be able to work with Peter's powers? This version immediately became my favorite version just because it actually has boots. And I also like how the Spider-Man eyes are drawn onto the eye holes. What keeps this suit from being peak is the lack of the "kick me" sign on the back. Aside from being hilarious, this "kick me" sign adds to the suit's back. Without it, the costume is really boring from behind. 6 out of 10. The Future Foundation suit is mostly rock solid as an adaptation of one of Spidey's cleanest looks, except for the eyes, as they're silver instead of black. This disrupts the black and white color scheme the suit had in the books, while also looking worse since the silver doesn't contrast with the white mask as well as black would. To be fair, they sometimes look black in certain lighting, usually at night, but that doesn't negate that they look wrong 90% of the time. I know that a lot of people have said that they dislike the shape of the eyes as they protrude too much and are too bug-like. But I honestly don't have an issue with that. I think it's because the color problem is such a larger issue for me that I can't even look past it. Maybe if the eyes were colored correctly, then I would take issue with the eye shape, but 7 out of 10. The upgraded suit from Far From Home is another alright outfit. It's fine enough in its design, but I personally don't care for it because, once again, I don't like MCU Spider-Man. 7 out of 10. The stealth suit is also from Far From Home. I like this one a lot less since it doesn't look much like Spider-Man. And look, I get that that was the point and it made sense in the movie, but I would never choose to use this in a video game. And I don't like the fingerless gloves either. The whole point was to hide his identity. Wouldn't S.H.I.E.L.D. want to avoid leaving fingerprints everywhere? I complained about this once and I got a comment saying that his fingers are exposed so he can stick to walls better. Look, ignoring that Spider-Man wears gloves more often than not and that he's wearing very thick boots, which doesn't make any sense, I don't see why he couldn't just wear very thin black gloves. Surely S.H.I.E.L.D. has some of those, right? Whatever. 5 out of 10. The suit from the first Amazing Spider-Man movie was surprisingly one of the suits I ended up using a lot. I've always thought that it was a pretty unique take on the typical Spider-Man costume that was a bit more grounded in reality. A suit that was perfectly fine for what it was, though I wouldn't have wanted him to keep wearing it in the other movies. But I ended up using it a lot here. I really like how the textures of the suit look in this game. I like how the web shooters have little lights on them, but maybe it is just nostalgia. This suit isn't 100% accurate to its screen counterpart. Just like the Raimi suit, there are mods for the PC port that more faithfully recreate the suit, but I don't really care about that too much because it still looks cool. An issue I do have with the suit is the lenses. While they were yellow in the movie, they mostly looked black due to the dark lighting the movie had. Here though, they look yellow no matter what, which I don't think looks as good. 8 out of 10. The Arachnid Rider suit is legitimately confusing to me. From its name and design, it's clear that this is based off of Kamen Rider, but then why is it given an animated filter? Kamen Rider is a live-action TV show, so why is the suit based off of it animated? I'm not hot on the design either, as I think it's too complex, especially given its inspiration, but I can't help but think that the suit would look a lot better if it was rendered normally. 5 out of 10. The Armored Advance suit is pretty good. It's got good colors, I like the bright white and red, broken up by black. The design is a little complex, but I don't think it's over-designed. The big issue I have with it is that the eyes are weirdly non-expressive. Instead of reusing the eyes from the classic or advanced suits to be expressive or making new, unexpressive eyes, they went with an awkward middle ground of using new eyes that look close enough to the other expressive eyes, but they aren't those eyes, so they're not as expressive, but they still move a little bit, and just why? Why wouldn't you just reuse the eyes from the other suits? Hell, why not reuse the eyes from the Anti-Ox suit? They're both pretty armored, so I think that would actually look really good. I don't get it. 8 out of 10. The hybrid suit from No Way Home is only available on the PS5 remaster. I don't have a PS5 yet, so I don't have this one or the next one we'll look at. And that doesn't bother me in the slightest, because once again, MCU spotted and ignored. Fine enough design, but it doesn't do anything for me personally. 7 out of 10. The black and gold suit, otherwise known as the Inside Out suit, is also exclusive to the PS5. I think the design of this is a bit interesting with the black and gold color scheme, the exposed wiring, and mystically enhanced web shooter. I still don't ultimately like it that much, but I'll at least acknowledge that there was something interesting going on. 7 out of 10. The Resilient suit is one of those outfits that's just kind of there. I don't have strong feelings towards it one way or another. It's not a bad suit design. Strangely enough, I think if you were to merge this suit with the Secret War suit, you'd actually end up with something decent. Hell, just making the blue darker would make the suit better as the white elements would pop a lot more. 6 out of 10. The Spider UK suit. I'm not British, so I don't feel anything about this one. Maybe if you are British, this is like the second coming of Christ, but I wouldn't know. They kept the transdimensional watch band that lets him go to other dimensions. That's a cool detail. Other than that, 6 out of 10. The Scarlet Spider 2 suit, as this game calls it, is a suit worn by Kaine, another clone of Peter Parker. I really liked Kaine as the Scarlet Spider. His solo series was generally really good and the main reason I liked the character. I think his suit is pretty cool too. That's why I'm disappointed in how the suit looks in this game. The suit was simple in the books, maybe too much so, but they've gone and overcompensated by adding these sections of slightly different colored red material. I really don't like this section on the waist, especially the back. It breaks up the suit in a way that I think is completely unnecessary. These added details might have been fine if the red was the same color so they wouldn't be as distracting. They've also broken up the black sections with lines of red, which is not a huge deal, but I do think it looks kind of weird since it adds even more red to a suit that is already primarily red. Outside of those issues, the suit is adapted well. I especially like the way the eyes look. I don't know, it just looks cool. Still, I would say the suit is more disappointing than it should have been. 7 out of 10. The Spider Armor has been one of my favorite Spider-Man suits for as long as I can remember. The suit here is incredibly faithful to its design in the books, which is great because it's a good design. There are some minor changes like the added gray on the sides of the torso or how the spider on the back is broken up into separate plates, but those changes don't matter to me at all. I actually like the segmented back spider. The biggest change is the eyes. They're now black instead of being silver. That's not a big deal for me because the black eyes do contrast well against the silver mask, and in some lighting, the eyes will actually look silver. That brings me to another issue of the suit, which is that it is very dependent on lighting. In bright lighting, it looks great, but in darker areas, the armor pieces don't have much light to reflect and ends up looking really dark and dull. The official render for this suit shows exactly what I'm talking about because it's super dark. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. If the suit was consistently bright silver, then it'd be a 10. The Iron Spider armor is based off the original Iron Spider costume from the comic books. In the books, I didn't like this costume too much because it didn't look like it was a piece of machinery. It didn't look like a mechanical suit. It just looked like shiny spandex. Here in the game, they've gone to some effort to make it look more mechanical, but I actually, strangely enough, think that they didn't go far enough and that they went too far at the same time. I think they didn't go far enough because there are parts of the suit that are clearly still fabric. It's armored pieces on top of a fabric suit, and I wish the suit was closer to the ANAD suit, the Spider Armor Mark IV, as the game calls it. I wish it was closer to that costume, which is entirely metallic. But at the same time, I think they went too far because there are a lot of silver lines on the suit, clearly, you know, trying to make it look more tangible and mechanical, but I think that they went way too far with that. I think all those silver bits could be removed entirely. I don't care for them. But outside of that, this is a really good costume. It's really close to its original counterpart, and I actually really like using this one a lot because when I played Web of Shadows, I played it on the Wii, and the Wii version of the game has alternate costumes. The Iron Spider suit was one of the alternate suits in that game, but I never unlocked it because to get it you had to get like 700 spider tokens. I played that game, man, when I was a kid, I played that game for what felt like years, but I never got 700 tokens. The max I would get each time I played through the game was like 400 or 500 something. I never got to 700, so I never unlocked the suit, and I was always kind of mad about that, so I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty gratifying to finally be able to use this costume in a free roam Spider-Man game. It's a very bizarre and very personal reason, but that is a big reason as to why I actually like the suit a lot in this game. Also, how can I forget to mention the added arc reactor pieces on his hands, feet, and the chest to make it look even more like an Iron Man costume, which I think looks really, really cool. Also, the MCU Spider Armor suit has the Spider Arm suit power, which you can then put onto other suits, but for all the other suits, the arms will have the same color scheme as they do for the MCU suit, except for this one, where the arms become solid gold, just like they were in the comic books, which is awesome. I love that they did that. So yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite suits. Even though I do think it could have been a lot better, it's still one of my favorites, and I'd give it a 9 out of 10. The Spider-Clan outfit is taken from the Marvel Mangaverse. To be completely transparent, this is the only skin I did not bother to unlock. I don't really care for the Mangaverse version of the character, I don't like the outfit, and the unlock condition was a bit of a pain, so I just never bothered. As to why I don't like this one, it's too basic. A manga version of Spider-Man designed by a person whose only manga knowledge is half an episode of Naruto. At least, that's what it looks like. I get why it has the more cartoony proportions, but I think it looks too goofy. 3 out of 10. The Aaron Eichmann skin is taken from a Spider-Verse tie-in comic that debuts the character Aaron Eichmann. Eichmann is actually a fairly interesting spin on Spider-Man, heavily influenced by 70s and 80s Japanese sci-fi material. And he dies in his first appearance. Oof. Too bad. His suit is mostly pretty cool. It's a neat power armor that's sturdy looking without looking bloated. The thing that ruins it for me is that the suit doesn't have a symbol on the back. I'm not kidding, if he had one, then this would have been one of my favorite suits. Without it, the suit looks weirdly incomplete. Like it's clearly missing something. 7 out of 10. The Cyborg Spider-Man skin is one of those outfits that I know was met with a universal, huh? When it was revealed. This isn't even really a distinct skin, it's just a modified version of the classic suit. I don't think anyone actually wanted this costume, not just in this game, but like period. I get that this is probably only here because it was easy to make, but man, what a total waste of a costume. 5 out of 10. The Into the Spider-Verse skin is a pretty cool outfit. The colors are nice, the more exaggerated proportions are fun, but I honestly don't find myself using this one too much. I can't pinpoint what it is exactly. Maybe it's that there's so many classic suits in the game already, or that the colors look kind of weird depending on the lighting, but I really can't say. I just know that I don't use it too much. Overall, I'd give this one a 7.5, and that's all of them. Here's a tier list that pretty much sums up my thoughts on the costumes in this game. I actually didn't make this one, but the link to the tier list will still be in the description in case you want to make your own. Overall, Insomniac did a pretty good job translating many of the designs from the books into a fairly realistic art style. There are noticeable areas for improvements. Many of the suits here could be a lot better, but for the suits that they did a good job on, they really did a good job. Many of the suits from the books and films that I didn't like are results of me never having liked them to begin with, so it's not their fault on that front. The biggest failing Insomniac has, in my opinion, is with their non-canon original designs. Most of them feel random and aimless, lacking a strong reason to exist. The sequel, Spider-Man 2, should be out by the time you're watching this video. I'll play it and I'll make a video on it. Not a costume video, but a deep dive review, close in style to my review of Avengers. So that'll be in the next release. Till then, remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you next time.